Dr. Schekman, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
So what have you learned from previous experiences?
Well, I've learned a lot about the state of clinical medicine in Spain, because this jury is for clinical medicine. I'm not a clinician, I'm a basic scientist, but I've seen some of the major efforts in the big cities in Spain for public health, and some of the contributions of people who are doing large-scale clinical studies. My home institution is the University of California, Berkeley, which has no medical school. So seeing clinical science from this perspective has been quite interesting and different for me.
I think there was this kind of feeling, and certainly I can relate to, which is for the younger people to be somehow afraid. Because there is so much pressure these days in a world that everything goes so fast, and knowledge is like becomes like viral in a second. Well, and also for me as still a young, relatively young investigator, what is the secret for success? And certainly enjoying what we do as investigators.
It's true, as we learned in this colloquium, that the world has changed. The access to information is much greater. When I was much younger, at the beginning of my career, I could master the literature in my subject area just by reading comprehensively a few journals. And that's no longer possible. It is no longer possible. So I survey the literature in a more limited way by the papers that I review, the papers that I see in the journal that I run, and by going to scientific meetings and learning about things.
That's the same exact feeling I have. In fact, I'm having the impression these days that people don't read papers at all, and they just consume knowledge like tweeters from the meetings. And that's why there are so many meetings.
Very complicated. But still, to me, there is a model for at least trying to succeed, and that is, I think, the most important thing that I urge my students to do is to focus. It's to focus their mind on a particular problem and on how to pursue that problem. So I learned this, I think, from my PhD mentor. Pick a problem, pick an important problem, pick a problem that other people aren't really pursuing at a detailed level of investigation, and then just be unrelenting in pursuing that step by step, systematically attacking that problem step by step.
And 20 years ago, he was already saying in this paper from '88 or so that some of the things that we are still consolidating knowledge. So I think that this is really like a dichotomy, because it takes a lot of time to consolidate knowledge, to really understand what you are doing, to really understand data that you'll be generating in a world that doesn't have time to wait.
Patience is the other thing that young people, I think, have trouble understanding is, since we are taking risks, there will be failure. And one has to look beyond the daily failures of experimental science, because most things don't work for one reason or another. And so I think it's easy to become frustrated by those failures. And I think, frankly, most people, even very smart people, are not cut out for doing research at the cutting edge. So the people who succeed are in part the ones who can look beyond the daily failures and keep their eye on the big picture and keep focusing on the goal and not worrying necessarily about those failures, because if you're persistent, can eventually be overcome. But if you lose sight of the major goal and become distracted by the daily failures, then, using your metaphor, you will never emerge from the tunnel.
Well, I would perhaps end like I started at the beginning, to really thank you for this opportunity, and also to really summarize what is the secret to success: to be focused, to be original, and to be patient.
Okay, good to chat with you.
Thank you.